Good evening, everybody. Sorry it's about 8:20 here on Sunday. I would have been here at 8 o'clock, but as you can see, I'm sitting in a vehicle because somebody hit a power pole by our house, and so the power is out. So our internet access and everything at the house is, excuse me, my signal kind of broke up a little bit. Our internet at home was kind of messed up, so I had to drive a little bit away. So I wanted to come back to you with the Thornley matter, this Thornley fraud matter, because that's the thing about crooked politicians is they're used to people being complacent, not paying attention, and they'll just absolutely lie straight to your face because they don't think they'll ever get caught. And if you're persistent enough, eventually they back themselves into a corner to where everybody can see that they're a bunch of liars. So this issue with the Thornley workman's comp fraud, as you guys are aware, Ms. Thornley is a former ISP Merit Board employee who filed a fraudulent application for disability benefits for an alleged sexual assault. She didn't list the Merit Board as her employer. She listed the governor's office as her employer, with the governor specifically, as well as his general counsel, Ann Spillane, as her supervisors. She was eventually fired for having found to have stolen money from overtime fraud from the taxpayers as she worked at the Merit Board. After she was fired, she started collecting disability payments for this alleged sexual assault, for this alleged employment she had with the governor. And it's all fraudulent, 100% of it. So in September of 2021, she finally got charged with, fraud, official misconduct, theft, etc., for the overtime money that she had taken when she worked for the Merit Board, because she was just turning in fake overtime, according to the allegations in the report. That doesn't implicate the governor. The governor wasn't implicated, nor his office, in any fashion. So she gets charged for that in September of 21. About that time, she also loses her temporary disability payment. So the question is where is the prosecution of the temporary disability payments? Now, if there's an investigation/prosecution of these temporary disability payments with Ms. Thornley, that implicates people at the highest level of the governor's office. So that creates a little bit of a precarious situation for people. So there was an article written in the Center Square that Greg Bishop put out. And that article, he actually received a response from Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office regarding these issues of the workman's comp fraud. And it's highlighted here, and this will be available to you later in a link, but I want to read to you what's highlighted. The Attorney General's office moved the overtime case forward by referring allegations of theft and forgery to the State Appellate Prosecutor's Office, and criminal charges are pending against Ms. Thornley as a result. Raoul Press Secretary Ann Thompson said this. Just as we referred the theft and forgery allegations, we have referred the allegations that Ms. Thornley committed workman's compensation fraud to the Appellate Prosecutor's Office. Our understanding is the matter is under review by that office. That whole paragraph that I just read to you is false. It's a lie. They did not refer the theft and the forgery charges to the Appellate Prosecutor. Sangamon County State's Attorney Dan Wright referred that and got the appellate prosecutor appointed. The Attorney General had nothing to do with it. And moreover, they have never referred any case regarding workman's compensation disability fraud to the appellate prosecutor's office. We can prove it. So that was what they wrote on the 28th of July. And it was in the article that Mr. Bishop put out saying, hey, we've referred this case, not only the theft case, but the appellate to the appellate prosecutor, but we referred the workman's comp disability. All right. So I'm going to show you the documents right now that show that it was absolutely false. But before we do that, there was a question asked of the governor and eventually to Kwame Raoul about this issue of the workman's compensation fraud. And before I show you the documents that these guys are liars, I want you to listen to what they had to say.
From Center Square first for the Attorney General, if you don't.
From what? That's a right-wing organization. You're actually carrying their questions for them?
Hey, I'm a reporter.
But you're an independent reporter with a real news organization. All right, I'll turn it over to the Attorney General.
Don't blame the messenger, please. Why did you forward the Thornley work compensation fraud case to the appellate prosecutor's office instead of prosecuting it yourself? What's the conflict within your office handling that case?
Well, I'll take you through the
Did you guys end up seeing all of that? Because it kind of blurred out on mine a little bit. Did they get the whole thing, Ryan? Because the video kind of paused for me. You might have a service problem like I've got. Sorry, guys. I got to wait to see what Ryan's doing bad. But that video, thanks, Penny. The video shut off. All right, let's see if Ryan can get that fixed. Thank you, Linda, because it paused on mine too. So I want you guys to hear that. So we're going to replay that video. It's important that you guys hear that. Here it comes.
Republican talking point because the dark money.
Blame the messenger, please. Why did you forward the Thornley work compensation fraud case to the appellate prosecutor's office instead of prosecuting it yourself? What's the conflict within your office handling that case?
well, I'll take you through the there's an employee who made allegations with regards to sexual harassment. In that case, we become the lawyer for the state, and so we're engaged in adverse to the person making the allegations. After an investigation, it's revealed that there's potential for fraud from that employee. It will look like retaliation if you're prosecuting the person that you're adverse to. So it's your typical conflict, which is common. We get cases referred to our office from state's attorneys where there's a conflict. Throughout the state, we do murder cases, we do all sorts of cases if there's a conflict. It's nothing unusual. Let me go on with that, because this is just something that is made out of nothing by somebody who's running for office who knows nothing about the office or nothing about how government works. It's been alleged that CMS got involved in a workers' compensation claim for an employee that wasn't an employee of CMS. Newsflash, CMS handles risk management for all state employees, whether or not they work directly for CMS. So this is a nothing burger. A nothing burger.
All right, thanks everyone.
All right. Before I go on and show you the documents that will, it's apparent that what he just said was 100% lie. I need to explain to you something about conflicts. There's a lawsuit pending in the federal court where Jenny Thornley sued the state of Illinois because of the employment issue she was having, and the Attorney General's office represents the state against her. So he's adverse to her. It's the state against Miss Thornley. That does not mean that the state can't be adverse to her on 1,000 issues. Conflicts come into play when you represent somebody and then you might have to go against somebody. That can be a problem. But just because he would be or the Attorney General will be adverse to her twice, it's not a conflict. And that's not what's going on, okay? So I want to show you some documents to deal with two things. One, they said that they're the ones that got the appellate prosecutor to take the charges against Jenny Thornley on the overtime issue. You remember when Kwame Raoul, in the email that I showed you that they sent, that says they were responsible? You see this document that's pulled up right here? motion for appointment of special prosecutor. Scroll down a little bit there, Ryan. Now comes the Sangamon County State's Attorney Daniel Wright and moves for the appointment of a special prosecutor in this case. He says he has a conflict, and I believe that he did. And so he is asking the court to appoint the special prosecutor in this case, because there's an alleged victim. If you scroll back up, Ryan, you see where it says Springfield Police Department Report S20-62175. That's the Jenny Thornley issue. So go to the second page of the document here, which is the order, Ryan. I want them to see the order that the judge signed. And it says right here that there is going to be an order, and in this order, the appellate prosecutors have been assigned this case, look there at the last sentence, involving the offenses of theft and official misconduct. Theft and official misconduct. So the appellate prosecutor was assigned to represent the state's interest against Jenny Thornley for theft and official misconduct. That was brought to the court by Dan Wright. It was not brought to the court by the Attorney General's office, so the Attorney General lied when it said that they had. Now let's talk about the workman's compensation fraud that you just heard Kwame Raoul say, we referred that to the appellate prosecutor because of some conflict. Now I'm telling you the conflict's garbage, but let's just stick with the fact that the man just told you on camera that they referred the case to the appellate prosecutor. You with me? Now, this interview that Kwame Raoul did was about noon or so on last Friday. Excuse me. It was about noon last Friday. 2 hours prior to that interview where Kwame Raoul lied to you on the camera, the appellate prosecutor's office, now knowing what's going on, sent an email to the Attorney General's office. And I want you guys to read this email very thoroughly. It says from David Robinson. David Robinson works for the appellate prosecutor. Timothy Diamond works for the Attorney General's office. And I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to parse out of here. And again, you see where that was written? Go back up, Dave, or Ryan. 10 o'clock on Friday, 2 hours before Kwame Raoul lied to you and told you that they have sent this to the appellate prosecutor's office. He says, Tim, I'm going to read every word because I want to break it down. I tried to reach out to you by phone today, but couldn't reach you. In case you are away from the desk, I wanted to reach out to you by email too. We have been receiving inquiries about a workman's compensation issue involving Jenny Thornley. We were appointed, remember the documents I just showed you from the court, to review and are now prosecuting allegations of theft and official misconduct involving Miss Thornley. That happened months ago, you guys. It happened months ago, probably over a year ago. That appointment does not involve any workman's comp issues. We were forwarded a letter from CMS that you sent to State's Attorney Dan Wright, which is out of the matters because Dan has a conflict. But we have not seen any appointment or investigation by law enforcement that would initiate an appointment under 3-9008. What Mr. Robinson is saying right there is we don't have any documents on a workman's compensation issue that would have resulted in us being appointed to pursue charges. I'm going to go on. The email sent to State's Attorney Wright indicates that the AG does not have original jurisdiction to handle workman's comp claims. There's another email I haven't shown you yet because I'm going to save it because I'm trying to keep other people from really getting in trouble here and getting Attorney General Raoul to come clean with you. And he says, is that because there's no law enforcement investigation? What Mr. Robinson's saying is, what do you mean you don't have jurisdiction over work comp claims? You do the work comp claims. Look at the next one. ILSAAP, the appellate prosecutor, which is this office that Kwame is trying to tell you he referred this case to, has never done, to my knowledge, any workman's compensation fraud cases. He's never done one. Our experience has been that those issues are directed to the AG Workers' Comp Fraud Division. Mr. Robinson just said, we've never done a work comp fraud case. Our experience is that the Attorney General does all the work comp fraud cases, And if we were to ever be appointed to a work comp fraud case, we've never seen a document or anything. So what in the hell did Kwame Raoul refer to the appellate prosecutor? The answer is nothing, you guys. They have not referred anything. I'm going to keep going. Go down, Ryan. He says, I am reluctant to respond to anyone asking about it because I don't want to step on the AG's toes. What do you mean, step on the AG's toes? What Mr. Robinson is and I'm being respectful to him because I have heard nothing but good things, what he's politely trying to say is, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say here because it's going to make you look really bad. I don't know that we have any FOIA requests yet. They're coming. But we are getting concerned citizens and media requests about it. Of course they're getting concerned. When I told you guys 3 or 4 days ago, start calling them, asking them. And you did. And when you started calling and asking, he's now sending this email to the Attorney General going, hey, what's up? You guys didn't send us anything. Then he says, he goes on to say, I see from the CMS memorandum that CMS spoke to the special prosecutor on the fraud official misconduct. And, this is the old case, the other case that they're doing on the overtime. But he says, and it appears that he made it clear that a referral and appointment would be required under 39008 for our agency to deal with these new claims. So what he was saying, Mr. Robinson, is if for some reason we need to deal with these new claims, somebody's got to get us appointed by the court, and we've never seen any of that. But then, this is great. I assume the court would appoint the AG on that if an investigation were undertaken because of the division there. But we've seen nothing official. What he's saying is if the court's going to have anybody prosecute this case, it would be the AG's office because they're the ones that have a special prosecutors division for workman's comp. You guys, this email right here is 100% proof that Kwame Raoul lied to the people on 2 occasions. The email that was sent on Thursday saying that they referred the overtime and the work comp fraud to appellate prosecutor is 100% false. Dan Wright is the one that sent the overtime case to the appellate prosecutor, and the appellate prosecutor has seen nothing on the overtime case. 100% nothing. Okay, does that make sense? And so Kwame is lying. He's trying to pass the buck. He is trying to make this go away. And do you see him and Pritzker sitting there laughing? That arrogant, smug, and pompous laugh, trying to marginalize what's being asked, criticizing the reporting agency that's asking the questions. You guys, this is fraud. And Kwame Raoul is trying to cover it up by saying he passed off an investigation to somebody that doesn't know anything about it. They've never heard anything about it, and they're going, why would we do this anyway? We've never prosecuted a work comp fraud claim. You prosecute all of them. But see, here's the thing. Remember that document that I showed you for motion to appoint a special prosecutor against Ms. Thornley in the overtime issue? If that gets done in this work comp fraud issue, you have to name every person that you're going to potentially pursue for criminal charges on that issue. You have to name who these people are. Do you think Ms. Thornley would be the only one named if that makes it to the court system? No, you know who these other people are that are going to be named. So they all talk, the left hand and the right hand are just going around in circles trying to confuse everybody and get them to go away. Kwame Raoul lied to you. The documents exist that show that he lied to you, and somebody needs to get to the bottom of it. The mainstream media in the north of our state are sitting by, letting this happen, and they're not asking the questions. The only one asking the questions is Mr. Greg Bishop, and he gets attacked and ridiculed by the governor for asking questions that evidence fraud at the highest level of the governor's office. This is not speculation. It's not conjecture. It's documented proof. There are emails floating around. There's documents floating around that this person committed fraud on work comp. The Division of Insurance even said it's a clear case of work comp, and nobody's prosecuting it. Kwame's lying to you, saying he passed it off to somebody. I think the appellate prosecutor is being honest, saying we don't know anything about this. We've never been given anything. Why are you telling people in the public that you've given us stuff? You guys don't let up on this. Please don't let up on it. Call every news media outlet you know and demand that they do an investigation. Demand Kwame Raoul answer for the lies that he's been spreading for the last few days. He needs to answer the lies. He told you that he referred it to the appellate prosecutor. Absolute lie. He has to know that he's lying to you because his office got an email 2 hours before the press conference that said, we don't know what you're talking about. But he still gets on television and lies to you. Please get to the bottom of those things. Thank you very much. Have a good night. I love you. God bless you.